Is there anything I should know about upcoming changes or anything? Yes. The current topography of the Earth is dependent on a very, very high probability of independent assessment of the spiritual configuration. This is a little hard to explain. However, what it means is that there are bands of energy around the Earth that are trusting on being fed to the sharks, so to speak. In other words, in those areas, the people are not standing up for their rights. They are not demanding that they be included in the access to community engagement, nor are they willing to be responsible for their part in community engagement. Those people who have to complain about the rain and the drought and say, well, it's the fault of the government or the oil companies or whatever, are not understanding what is happening here. They're not understanding that this is all part of the trust on being part of the thrust of energy that is clearing away the darkness you see. So everybody who comes back to the light, everybody who turns around and faces the light and says, give me liberty or give me death, is the one who is saying, set me free from your old-time religion. Set me free from your dependence on nothing. Set me free from the lack of trust on each other. Set me free from those who would tell me what I need to think. Let me stand on my own 2 feet. The people who can stand on their own 2 feet and say, I will not play that way, I will not play that way, are the ones who are the bands of light, you see. And these bands of light shine bright. They shine very bright. And they shine with such power that they will be the forces that come together to stabilize the energy of the earth. They will literally stabilize the energy of the earth. Do you hear what I'm saying? They will stabilize the earth energy in such a way that there will be a clearing of the dark energy for them to see how to gather together in peace and harmony, and they will figure it out. They will figure it out because they will see that God is there to protect them and not to order them around and say, you got to do this or you got to do that or I'll throw you into hell. Or you got to do this or you got to do that. Or I'll have to throw you in the rising sea. Because those who trust on God don't care if they get thrown in the rising sea because they trust that God is protecting them. God is protecting them so that they can be happy, you see, and maybe he'll take them to heaven and they'll be happy there. And that's okay because they trust on God. You see that God has it in hand and it's not their obligation to try to save humanity. It is not your obligation to try to save humanity. It is your obligation to work with God, to give to God your trust in His ability to help you, help Him save humanity. You are in a partnership with God, and therefore your partnership requires that you do your part. It does not require that you tell God what to do. It does not require that you tell others what to do. It requires that you choose freely and without any pressure from religion or any other dogma to turn to the light because you simply release yourself from the darkness, you see. Once you release yourself from the darkness, the light will come to you. The light will shine for you. So just trust on God and not on trying to save humanity. That's not your job. It is not your job to save humanity. It is your job to save yourself from the darkness. How do you save yourself from the darkness, you ask? You save yourself from the darkness by experiencing the light. And how do you experience the light? You experience the light by coming out of hiding. When I say coming out of hiding, I mean you have to drop all your trust on the old time religions. And that means even those of you who are not religious in your own understanding, you still trust on dogma. Most of you still trust on the dogma that comes out of the schools or wherever it comes from. Those of you who don't trust on anything and you just make up your own reality and try to tell God how to play are the first that will be swallowed up in the darkness, you see, because you don't trust on reality. You don't trust on God, you see. If you have to hide your face and say, hey, I have to remain anonymous because I have such big secrets to impart to you that if you could see I'm just an ordinary person like you might not listen to me, are the ones who understand the bulk of humanity. They understand that the bulk of humanity is hiding from reality. And therefore, if somebody says, well, I have to remain anonymous because I can't let you see my face, then they trust on them because they trust on the darkness, you see. They trust if this person can hide away, then so can they. Then so can they. They can hide from God. They can hide from reality. Those who stand up and say, hey, I won't play that way. Hey, don't tell me that I have to be nice to the ones who are coming with the nooses to hang me. Don't tell me that I have to stand here and say, okay, you can destroy the USA. Okay, it's all right if you spread the darkness and kill the light. You can't kill the light, people. However, those who do not trust on their own ability to handle the light will let it go. They will let it go. And they will hide in the darkness with the others, you see, because they can't trust on their own heart, you see. So this is a message to those of you out there who hear this. If your heart tells you that you need to do something that is not consistent with your religion, with your professional training, with your family obligations and limitations, then maybe you need to find the courage of your convictions. If you stand up and say, hey, my heart tells me this is the way to be happy. My heart tells me that I'm happy when I speak up. My heart tells me that I'm happy when I say, I will not play that way. I will not sit in that pew. I will not send my children to sit in that desk and listen to you, fill them full of bullshit. I will not. I will not. I will listen to God today because you see, God cannot talk to you. He cannot be heard by you as long as you push God away. Now, Stephanie likes to listen to those who have a particular scientific background and an interest in the factual aspects of the coming earth changes because she doesn't need somebody to tell her what to think. But she likes to hear about the research and the current state of detection of the rate of decay of the current topography of the earth, you see, just to see how reality is shaping up around her. And then she can make up her own mind about what it means to her, and she can talk it over with us and see what it means to us. And we can share our reality. Get it? We can share our reality because we listen to each other. We don't try to be the golden idol and tell each other what to think. I am speaking for everyone in the circle here in heaven, and that includes God, the Father, that includes the archangels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. That includes many individual soul energies that have come to earth again and again to continue the trajectory of the evolution of humanity. And this is the greatest story ever told. This is the greatest story ever told. The greatest story ever told is the story of life. And this is what it's about, people. It's about life. And it's about how you live life. It is about how you give to others. It is about what you receive from others. It is about the constant exchange of energy, you see. It is not about a golden idol that everybody has to bow down to, because if they don't, they'll have to suffer eternally in hell, or else they will be slaughtered by the swords of those who are the demons that hide in the darkness, you see. The demons that hide in the darkness are the faces of humanity all around you that cannot bear to stand in the light, you see. They cannot bear and stand in the light. They will be so misguided as to tell others how to think. But they won't stand up to someone who stands toe to toe with them and says, yeah, you want to talk to me about that and I'll talk to you about it? Because they only complain about the ones who don't even know they're complaining about them. They're gossips, you see. They are gossips. And the gossipy people who hide in the shadows and complain are the ones who need to go away. They just need to go away because the earth does not need to be subjected to their dark energy. Now, what I started to tell you about was how Stephanie trusts upon the scientists, you see, but she also knows that they have a very limited reality because they can't make the leap across the crevasse, you see. They can't make the leap from their trust on their professional educations to the trust on their heart. They cannot combine their ability to see reality with their ability to feel God energy. They are stuck in the revolving door, you might say. They're stuck in the revolving door because although they may not trust on dogma of the religious, they may be unable to play in a nice way because they think they are the gods of the universe. All this malarkey about trying to freeze the Arctic or see the clouds or shield the earth from the sun's rays is utter stupidity. It is utter stupidity. And it diminishes the intelligence of all of humanity when those people who trust on these things try to convince others that they can stop the earth changes through mechanisms that they don't even understand. They are not the gods of the universe. They do not understand what it would mean for this earth if they think that they can mitigate the aspects of climate change by their feeble efforts to play God. They cannot, for God has it in hand. God has it in hand. Do you understand this, people? God has it in hand. God is playing his hand. You are not in control of what is happening to the earth. God is. You are in control of your own soul, identity. You can hide in the shadows and reject the light, or you can peek out from the shadows and see a little bit of the light, but are unable to stand in it because you are afraid. You are terrified of God, you see, because if God is real and God is frustrated with his children, you might say, and preparing to wipe them off the face of the earth, then you have nothing to look forward to. All you had to look forward to was a few years on earth, you see, and maybe that your name would go down in history. And someday somebody might say, this person once lived on the earth. You are not going to be saved from the rising seas if that's the way you play. You are not going to be the one who goes down in history that saved the earth because you didn't. You see, you haven't saved the earth. The earth is under the control of the forces that you don't understand. But you think that you can save the forests and the mountains and the oceans by writing a paper about your investigations of a certain phenomena. And you are like the needle that thinks it is a real person, you see, just because it's used to sew together a little patch on the knee of someone's jeans. That is comparable to the idea that you can save the earth through your feeble efforts to understand the one who wears the pants, you see. You're not wearing the pants. You might benefit from understanding who does. You might benefit from becoming a little more humble, you see, and don't think that you are the God of the universe because you have this degree or that degree from this institution or that institution, and now you're smarter than everybody else. That is the height of arrogance. It is the height of arrogance. And so, on the one side, we have ignorance, total ignorance, and on the other side, we have total arrogance. And these two factors contribute to the darkness and the roiling seas, and they will be the death of much of humanity. However, those people who understand that they can play their hand in a way that will say, I trust on God today, and I also trust on science. And I also trust on the ability of the community to make certain decisions, you see, for the betterment of all. But I do not trust on those who try to tell me what to think. I do not trust on those who tell me that God is dead. I do not trust on those who tell me that I have one life to live and then I will become nothing again because I once was nothing, because that doesn't even make sense. Sometimes the most illogical people are the ones who have the most letters after their names and think they are the smartest. And you know who they are. You know who they are. And I have Stephen Hawking here to tell you that he could spell a lot of words that you probably never even heard of. But he couldn't sell his story to God, you see, when he had to take a knee and say, mea culpa, mea culpa. I was so arrogant that I thought that I could not be ignorant. And I was both, you see. I was both. So don't tell me about the geniuses that cancel me out. Don't tell me about the ones who sell their sewage to their brethren and say, you got to swallow some of this today because I got all these degrees, you see, and I'm a genius. And I'm so arrogant that I can't even remember how I got here. I can't remember how I came to be in this wheelchair, you see. I can't remember how I came to be sitting here telling everybody about the lay of the land because I don't even remember where I came from, you see. I don't even remember where I came from. And so here I am in heaven today, and I have a lot to say, but I'm not going to say it because I don't give a shit anymore, because the shit has already hit the fan, and I'm not going to add any more shit to it. So just let me be free, people. Let me be free, those of you on earth who still want to keep me enshrined in the halls of fame of the ones who never shine their light, you see. They never shine their light. And now let's give him his eulogy, because the eulogy for Stephen Hawking is that he was one of the also ran. He also ran for the golden idol, you see, because he thought that he was important and he was just. Mistaken, you see, because he was taken into a new vibration where he could see that he was just a bit of energy and not the master of ceremonies, you see. And so, for the rest of you, play it your way, because it doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter how you play it, because you'll always just reap what you sow, and so sow what you would reap. And if you happen to sow a patch on the knee of the pants that are too big for you, then don't try to wear them. Just let God wear them. And you can spare yourself a lot of grief, because you'll get a lot of relief from knowing that God has you in hand and that God trusts on your ability to grow and to come to know that you are destined for the promised land. However, whether you can be there this time around or next time or the time after that or the time after that remains to be seen, because the gates of paradise, you see, will swing close once the topography of the earth has ensured that there will be enough lovers of reality to sustain the future evolution of humanity. Be well, my children, and wish me well. For if you wish me well, I will dwell in a beautiful glow. But if you hate me, then the state of your soul will reflect the state of the world around you. This is my promise to you, that I will give to you what you give to me. And if you give me your love, you see, if you stand by me and say, I stand by God today, I trust on the rain and the wind and the forces of nature that are so beyond my capacity to control, much less to understand, then I cannot help but be happy, you see, because that's the way God made me. God did not make me to control the earth. God did not make me to save humanity. God made me to save him from the darkness, you see. Because when God sees a little spark of light, it is a delight. But if the darkness were to become total, you see, all life would cease. And therefore, God depends upon those children who love God and give to God a little light so that God can give it back to them until it becomes so bright that it lights up the night. And the children of Eve are the children of the trust on God, you see, that God conceived of a way to help them, help him to be so proud of the world he created, because he had others who could see it too, and they could say, God, this is great. What a great job you did do. And then he would say, thank you. Let me show you what I can do now. And they would say, hey, I like that today. I like that today. Good display. Thank you, God. I'll play your way. I'll appreciate you. And I won't turn away from you and say, well, you're not my creator today, because I created myself out of nothing, you see, and to nothing I shall return, because in between I have nothing to give you and nothing to receive from you, because if you are created in nothingness, then you are created out of the darkness, and you will fade into the darkness, and you cannot be seen in the light. So choose wisely, my children, choose wisely, because although it's fine with me if you are swallowed by the rising sea, it might matter to you. It might matter to you whether you live in peace and harmony or continue to suffer in the fires of hell, because the fires of the hell are where you dwell when you live in the darkness, you see. And although you may make a little corner for yourself there, where you temporarily build a wall against the light you see, it will not protect you from me. It will not protect you from me, because, you see, I trust on the light. I trust on the light, that eventually the light will dispel the darkness and reveal you in your nakedness. And you will have to see that you're just like me. You can't be happy as long as you keep getting fed all the shit that you give to me. So, to those of you who think that you can enchain me to your religious order, you see, I will not be chained. I will not be restrained by you. I will not be ordered around by you. You cannot tell me what to say. You cannot control me today. However, I can let you stay chained to your demons, you see, because you think I'm a demon, and therefore that's what I'll give you, to share hell with you, the demons that you tried to make of me when you told me what I had to be, what I had to do, and tried to order me around. And now the order of the day is that I've had enough, and I say, it's time for a new point of view where I can be loved by my family, because my family is the family of man, you see, and they are the ones who trust on me. And the ones who are not part of the family of man, because they think that they are God, you see, will have to be swallowed in the rising sea. Thank you, God.